Hey guys, welcome to Strategic Timeout Fantasy IPL 2023 picks. Today we are going to talk about match number 22. That's Mumbai Indians and KKR at Wankhede. Before we begin that, I think we have to talk about yesterday's game. Though it was not a cliffhanger of sort of the previous 4 5 days,
Yeah,
going to the last over very close games. But however, it had become close in the final stages of the match, and largely that was because of an exceptional comeback by LSG due to Bishnoi. But I think the three main stars of fantasy yesterday were Rahul, who came back to form, Karan, who
yeah,
continued his good thing, and Sikandar Raza, right? Like a surprise
yeah.
package for yesterday. What do you have? What are your thoughts on these three players, Sarkar?
I think, Rahul, like we mentioned last time, we have to wait and see when Rahul comes back to form. And I think last game was a very good confidence booster for him. So I think I'm hoping to see Rahul get back to his consistent ways. Karan, as usual, has been a very reliable player, always a candidate to take wickets up front or in the death or even score some runs down the order. And I think the main takeaway was Raza, right? I think the
Yeah.
amount of value that he added, I think he's now on the radar. He's not someone who can be just kept aside easily. So I think he's an important player for them. So someone to look out for moving forward.
Yeah, I think when we are doing the
Bowls, the bats. Yeah.
next Punjab predictions, it's going to be a headache, right? Like with Livingston coming. So, but
Right,
yeah, we'll keep that when we when we cross the bridge. But I think
right.
great match if you went really bold, seeing the team 11s and sort of giving Sikandar Azad a chance. Otherwise, a safe bet like Karan would have also like what we predicted yesterday. So that also should have
Yeah.
got you points. So yeah, I hope you guys did well. So yeah, coming to match 22, as you can see, my friend Shalkar is a Mumbai Indian fan with his jersey.
Mumbai.
Not doing as well as they have been doing past seasons,
Yes.
but yeah, they showed last match the glimpse of why they have been a champion side. So yeah, Shalkar,
Yeah.
what do you think about last match? Do you see any changes in their playing 11s for today's game against KKR?
So I think, especially looking at KKR's lineup, I think Mumbai is going to play their spinners. The last time there's been one game played at Wankhede this season, and I think in that game spinners played a role. So I definitely expect spinners to play an important role here, especially Chawla and I think Shokin plays. I'm not too sure with if Vadera plays or not. I'm not quite sure. He, like you mentioned, yeah, like Vadera goes out and maybe Kartikeya comes in is something that I'm looking at. But otherwise, apart from that, I think it's a pretty set 11. And Rohit mentioned in the last, press conference that they don't want to make too many changes, just maybe here and there. But in general, I think they look set.
Yep.
And I think one major takeaway from last game was Tilak, I think, is going to start coming in at three, is one down, is what I think they're going to look to do. And maybe Green and David play that double punch role which Hardik and Pollard used to do it for MI. So
Yeah.
what do you think about KKR? Do you see anyone going in, coming out?
As you can see, I think their team has sort of become a bit more consistent now. Like first two games, they were still sort of Jagdishan and Fergie were not there.
Right.
Now I think last game though they lost, I think in terms of playing 11, I don't see many changes. Maybe the spot of Gurbaz is up for grabs to maybe a Roy or a
Yeah.
Little, just because he's anyways you have a keeper in Jagdishan, so
Yeah.
Gurbaz keeping doesn't become that critical. So I think
Right.
failures in last two games, especially the last game where they required 200 plus and the start was crucial. So
Right.
I think that might go against him. Other than that, I think Ferguson still gets like some more chance because of like his they have paid 10 crores, they have got him out of the window transfer in, so I think they'll back him. But yeah, if he starts failing, then yeah, there is going to be pressure on him. Otherwise, I think the team looks well set, and yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the only one change. So
Right.
yeah, so keeping these 11s in our mind, let's quickly jump to the fantasy picks. So yeah, what are the first few names that come to your mind for today's game?
I think, Green is a good pick, but then his value reduces to some extent now that he's going to come down the order.
Yep.
So, I'm not sure if he's a premium pick anymore. Maybe more like an X factor. Yeah,
Yep, I think I agree. Green, like now you don't know whether he's going to come at number 4 or number 5 in this
yeah,
team.
yeah.
Tilak sealing the number 3, as you said. Sky and Green will have to closely see who comes at 4, who
Right,
comes at 5. But
right.
I think in terms of great picks, I feel we have to go for a kind of a Sunil Narine, like who has shown consistency uh,
Yeah,
in today's game. I think he might be a good option. And
yeah,
same thing goes for I think uh, not Rinku Singh. I was going to say Rinku Singh because the form is in, but I think we'll have to go for someone like maybe a Venkatesh Iyer, who can
yeah,
be a good pick because he's going to come at one. He's become consistently now one down for them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think
I
Venkatesh.
think coming as since you mentioned Rinku, I was thinking that in the uncapped players section, you have two brilliant options between Rinku and Tilak Verma.
Yeah, I think Tilak will still sort of come above Rinku for me because though Rinku
Yeah,
has
yeah,
been in stellar form, Tilak bats at that one down now, and he even
correct,
bowled right. Like I think Tilak
right.
is not only a good uncapped pick, but I think he's a great budget pick for the teams
Exactly,
now.
exactly.
Uh,
Agreed.
yeah, so I think Tilak definitely comes into my team. It's a tough game, right? Like none of the batsmen have clearly showed form.
Yeah,
Mumbai,
exactly.
I'm not able to actually pinpoint someone whom I can clearly say it's going to be a pick for me. Uh,
Yeah,
very
you see a lot of yellows and reds, and that explains the story.
Yeah, that's true. I don't see a lot of
Tilak is
people.
the only one who has all three greens. He's been in good form.
Yeah, I think Rohit Sharma, though he has shown some glimpses of form, he might come into Wankhede and he suddenly comes into our equation as maybe an X factor because
Yeah,
finally, like his favorite ground, right? Like Eden Gardens, sort of got him back to the where you expect Rohit to be. So maybe he's an X factor. Still not a great pick, but I
right.
think
I think this game is at Wankhede, right?
this
Is it?
game is at
I'm not.
Wankhede. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but anyway, like you mentioned, as you rightly said, Rohit has a very good record against KKR,
Hmm.
at Eden as well as at Wankhede. And he's averaging above 42, has a good history in general. So he's a good X factor, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Uh, okay. Then who else do we say a good pick for today? I don't think so from Mumbai anyway. Anyone I can point out to. Maybe I point out to some X factors like Meredith and Berendorf, especially
Yeah.
if they are bowling first. So if Mumbai
Yeah.
is bowling first, I think Meredith and Berendorf can be good X factors, and they are like very well in your budget.
Right.
So
Right.
I think
Where would you put Sky? Would you put him in under wait and watch, or do you
yeah,
put
I
him in
think
X factor goodbye?
I think honestly he goes into wait and watch. It's been very hard for me to say that because I've been a huge Surya sort of supporter. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the situation has come where we have to like allow him to come in form. It's okay to maybe miss out on points right now at the stage, but it's very difficult. Though I still feel like okay, let me put him back to the X Factor because I feel Surya is one game away, and only if Mumbai bat first and they don't have any pressure of chasing, I think
Right.
I'll give a
I
Surya
think I agree with the X factor here because, if
more. Hmm,
he's like you said, one game away from a blistering century, then that's a becomes a massive differential.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Uh, I think even in terms of like his caliber before the tournament, right? It's never been in question. This is the first time Surya is going through such a patch.
yeah,
It'll lot will depend on how captain backs him, and I think that's why he gets your number 4 spot. He'll still get that number 4 after Tilak,
yeah,
um, because they'll keep him. Only it's,
right,
it's going to be a shuffle between Green and Tilak. So yeah, I think let's see today. It'll be very great. If he fails today, I don't think so. I put him in even in X Factor next game. But yeah, this is the last
yeah,
chance,
yeah.
maybe to sky from our end. In terms of KKR, right? Like, do you see any like picks, straightforward picks?
I think after Russell bowled the last game, uh,
He's good.
he's someone I might take a chance on because I think Wankhede doesn't have big boundaries either, and he's a powerful guy. So if he gets going, he might score quite a few. And I think in general, it's not like he's coming in very late. So far, KKR have been losing wickets quite early on, so he ends up, he has the opportunity to at least face deliveries. So I think I would pick Russell, especially since he has started bowling. I think that's a big factor.
Yeah, I think even in terms of the injury, right, it was a scare, but I think there were reports suggesting that it was more of heat and he got crammed up, and
Right,
you expect that
right,
from Russell, right? He looks like he's gone. He comes next match, he bashes a 40 of
right,
10, 40 of 15. So yeah, I think
right.
as you rightly said, with Russell actually not being having the best of forms, but he's coming. He's a floater in the order, right? Especially if KKR is
Yeah,
batting first, you definitely expect he'll get 15, 20 balls. And in
yeah,
most of the cases, he used to make most of it, which has not been happening that much this season. But I think with his bowling last game, picking up 3 wickets, I think the
right.
team is trying to give him that confidence, trying to push him to sort of
Correct.
be the Russell that they know. So I think, yeah, he'll be a good pick, especially if KKR bat first.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
In me, I'm trying to look at the bowling of KKR. So I think
Yeah,
Varun Chakravarti still is a decent X factor. Uh,
yeah.
Not sure
I agree.
how effective he'll be at Wankhede. So will not put him in categorizing good pick, but always a good form player. I
Yeah.
think always makes
And
sense.
it's a day game. It's going to be hot. Might get, if, you know, some help maybe. So, if
Yeah.
any. So, I think he's a good X factor.
Okay. Any bold avoids for you in today's game?
Avoids, bold avoids. I would not, I would avoid Green for at least for now and see because it's not like he always bowls 4 overs. Maybe sometimes he bowls three. And especially if he's coming down the order, I want to see how much of an opportunity they want to give. They're looking to give him.
Yeah.
So maybe wait and watch for now.
Agreed. Agreed. I think
But I
Green
think, like you said, Green, if they bat first,
bad first. So I think
yeah,
yeah, we'll have to sort of put him here
if
to,
they're chasing,
especially if
yeah,
they bowl first.
right,
Because yeah, that is a very important distinction for like even every user to make that not
correct,
he, like last match he did a good job, came and finished the game, but then it was not enough, right? Like
correct.
basically as a
In
fantasy
real
asset,
life, he's
yeah,
a phenomenal asset, but
yeah, exactly. In fantasy, then it was he was not a great asset to have last game
yeah,
because he just did
yeah,
a 17 of 9, did not even get the
yeah.
strike rate point. So yeah, that distinction becomes important. I
And for
think
the same reason, I would maybe put wait and watch for David also, just because he comes so low down the order and he doesn't bowl also. So very limited opportunities to actually score points.
yeah, exactly. I think same goes for your Shardul, right? Like a Shardul,
Yeah,
only if KKR like he did not even get a over. He wouldn't have got if Russell would have not like sort of uh, got injured, right? So that
right,
Shardul
right,
very confusing sort of situation for him. So I think Shardul again sort of goes into the category where we wait and watch
right,
of
right.
what happens. I think
Correct,
Venkatesh Iyer is someone that I'm still like looking at as an X factor because he's showed some form and
right,
might do well. Basis Wankhede being little more familiar to the batsman and sort of
right. What do
yeah,
you think about the captain, vice captain picks?
very difficult. I think I would
Very
actually look at Tilak Verma to be very
mm-hmm,
honest because he's
mm-hmm,
someone in form and he's been consistent in this team. So
yeah,
Tilak Verma gets a choice, and next for me is Naren and Russell basis on.
yeah.
Well, not even Naren actually. Naren is a good asset to have, but captaincy wise, I
Russell,
would go for Russell or
Russell,
Green,
yeah,
or depending on who's batting first. Like if
right.
KKR is batting first, I might go for a Russell as a vice captain. Otherwise, I go for a Green.
Right.
What is your
I think I agree. I absolutely agree. I think picking captain, vice captain in this game is very tricky because, as you mentioned, nobody except Tilak has, shown that they are in good form consistently. So I would pretty much agree with what you're saying here.
yeah?
Maybe if you want to be bold, no, I think pretty much agree with Tilak Russell Green.
We'll come to the bold picks in the end. We'll definitely have our
Maybe take a chance with Berendorf if KKR bat first. A bold pick, a slightly bolder pick. Maybe
yeah.
he might give you 2, 3 wickets.
Yep, agreed, agreed. If KKR is sort of batting first, that's what I did, right? Like last game, I
Correct.
actually got
And it
very
worked.
confident.
Yes.
It worked so well.
Worked out perfectly.
Yeah, so I think yeah, I am on complete agreement to that. All right, we'll quickly jump into the Dream 11 picks. I think it's a very tough match to sort of be very honest, because
Yeah.
none of the players rather have completely taken by storm. But I think
Yeah.
these eight players still pick themselves because the positions they come in the team and sort of the roles they play. Like for example, an Ishan Kishan, he will open, he will keep wickets. He's a good
Yeah.
fantasy for same thing with sort of Ishan, Tilak, Chavla. All these are
Right.
like out because they will do their role completely. I think same thing goes with Green. We have spoken about Green, Russells, and everyone.
Yeah.
And Thakur in a Dream 11 situation becomes more important than a day to day because then in a Dream 11 you know that he will get might get an over or two, and then you
Yeah.
want to bank those points. Whereas in a fantasy you're going to spend a transfer, so that
Correct.
differentiation sort of comes in.
Correct.
So yeah, I think eight is fine. Now we are looking at some possible differentials. So what do you think about like if Mumbai bat first? I think Surya,
Hmm.
Rohit, and Ferguson just because he bowls death.
Right.
What is your take on
I think like we mentioned, if my bat first, I would be willing to take, as in daily fantasy, I would be willing to take my chances on Rohit Surya because Rohit looked good last game, hoping that he continues that. And they both have a very good record against KKR. And like KKR's bowling has not been very strong in the power play and their leaked runs.
that?
And Ferguson is express pace, but otherwise it's not, their bowling isn't clicking as much as well. So I know Narayan can be. I think Narayan versus Rohit is a matchup to look out for because Rohit typically does not have a good record against Narayan. He has been dismissed several times, but otherwise, barring that, he has a good record against KKR. So possible differential, like uh,
Okay.
people who can do well.
I I think exactly the same thing I would say with KKR, right? Like a Rinku Singh, though he's coming at five, and we have always said be wary of him. Considering how Mumbai's bowling also has been not the best of the shapes, and Rinku has been on top form, right? So Rinku sort of
Yeah,
in a Dream 11 equation, especially if KKR is batting first, the form is in. I think the team management will make sure he gets those 15-20 balls at the end. And
right,
same thing
right,
with Nitish Rana, right? Like he absolutely last two games has come into the purple patch of what Nitish
right,
was 2 years back. I think
right,
still does not make it to the team in every situation, but in a situation where KKR bats first, I think I would go
right,
with Nitish Rana and Berendorf. We already spoke, right? Like
right,
him sort of
right.
taking those wickets at the end if KKR is batting first. And yeah, I think avoids are very clear. Soyash and Vadera, these
Yeah,
two do not have exactly a clear role right now. Soyash does have a clear role, but at Wankhede, I'm not sure he even gets more than two overs.
yeah, yeah.
And we don't know even if he plays, right? We feel a Kartikeya might come in. So yeah, we have to
Come
keep
in.
those.
Right.
So to the final section, right? We have discussed the safe choices of captaincy of Tilak and maybe a Green or a Russell batting. Like Salkar, what would be your one bold captaincy pick for Dream 11 today?
This is a very bold call. It would be Surya. Very bold call. So
Yeah,
I think that would be one. Maybe like if KKR bat first, Behrendorff is a pretty calculated bold call that he would take 2, 3 wickets. Yeah.
yeah.
Those would be my couple of picks.
I think my one bold call would be Venkatesh Iyer because you are not
Nice.
expecting
Yeah.
not many people are going to have him as captains in their dream 11.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
That 83 knock, he was just amazing, right? He looked really
Yes.
well in confidence. He did a very poor shot last game, but I think if
Yeah.
to go really bold on KKR, I might do a
Yeah.
Venkatesh.
Yeah. 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 Agreed.
All right,
I
then I
think that.
think yeah, it's going to be an
Yeah.
exciting game. KKR has already struggled against Mumbai, so Salkar looks
Yes.
beaming today. So
I think we're 8-1. Like we'll keep with. I'm pretty sure we'll continue the streak.
all right
Yes.
then. All the best to you and all the best to all our viewers for the team. So yeah,
Yes.
looking forward
All the
to
best, guys.
drop in a comment if you have any suggestions on our video and yeah, let us know what you think about the playing 11s we
Yeah.
discussed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.